Welcome to Drum and Drummer, a podcast focused on drums, drumming and drummers. I'm George Pickering and that's Ben Winty, and we are both professional drummers in this business we call music. So stick around and join us as we pass the time whilst trying to stay in time.
Aura featuring George Pickering.
Yeah.
With your mug on there as well.
Yeah.
I thought, George must be absolutely loving this.
It was great.
The best thing about Thursdays, Drum and Drummer.
Yeah,
Am I
that
right?
is the best thing. Yeah.
Am I right? What is your...
Go on. No.
No.
I was going to say sometimes I forget. You know, I go, it's Thursday. What's happening today? I go, we're on the airwaves. So that's a
I
little
don't know about
bit
you,
better.
but I've definitely felt in the early days of doing this, it took up quite a lot of my mental consciousness.
Yeah.
Of like, right, we record it, we edit it, you know, well, I edit it, and, you know, we do the social media, get that sent to you, and then Thursday, it's got, and now, like you just said, you sort of forget.
Yeah.
And it comes out, you go, oh yeah, I did that.
Well, I was saying this to a new
I'm not saying it
friend.
means nothing to me,
Mm.
but I think it's a good thing.
Well, it's just consistent. It's like when people get into exercise, you know, it just becomes a part of their routine, you know?
Sure.
I didn't even think about this. I met, oh my God, actually, let's start with this. So I had a gig the other night. That isn't the bit. I met someone who has listened to the show before, and it was kind of weird because he was the drummer in the band after me. And I started talking to him. He was saying, oh, do you want to use my hardware and whatever? And I was chatting to him. He goes, your voice, you sound like, I think his name's Richard Spavey. I might have got that completely wrong. Some drummer. And I went, oh, okay, you know. And we started chatting and we were talking about the UK drum show. And he was like, oh, are you going this year? I was like, well, I might do. You know, I have a podcast and we went last year. And he went, oh, Drum and Drummer. And I went, yeah? Why? He's like, oh, that's how I know your voice. He was like, I follow you and I see the audiograms and stuff. I was like, oh my God. And then we started chatting and instantly became mates, I'd say. And he helped me out with, I lost my sticks before playing the gig. We'll get to the whole gig.
Yeah, okay.
I'll tell you that bit now because that's quite funny. I didn't bring a stick bag because it's London. I thought I'll just put them in my snare case. I'll just bring like 3 pairs of sticks. I can't bother to bring a stick bag as well if I have to walk around. And I just lost them before going on stage. But I was just chilled. I went, it's fine. I've got my new friend Will, and I can just blag a pair of sticks off him.
Were the sticks loose in your snare case?
They were, or
were they in a stick bag?
What I thought I'd done, because I was the last, I set up my kit because I was going to be the first drummer on, and I thought I put my sticks just on an amp, and then I was like, oh, someone's nabbed my sticks, but they were just in my snare bag, and then I didn't realise, but I thought I'd lost them.
So you did have them?
I did have them. I didn't lose them. It was okay. But yeah, I met someone that listens, which is kind of weird, but kind of nice, you know? It's, you go, oh, someone listens to this. So that was nice. Should I start with the gig?
Yes, let's do it. Well, I've known about this gig for a while.
Yeah.
But we haven't brought it up yet. I didn't want to push you about it because I think it was, I don't know, big deal, not a big deal,
I don't know. I don't know. It was different in a lot of ways because it was an artist gig. It was an artist that I hadn't worked with or knew before. You know, I kind of feel like a lot of people I play for are people that I know already or like friends of friends, whereas this felt more like, you know, it's through Johnny Brister. He put me in touch with this.
Johnny, the Johnny
Shout
B.
out Johnny
be
B.
good. Johnny be great.
He put me in touch with this artist called Aura, and yeah, it just felt a bit more, I don't know, like a step up rather than, no offense to just playing with your mates who have things going on.
No offense to Lennon. That's what you're saying.
AKA Lennon. Yeah, if you're listening, Lennon, this was a step up from you. No, I'm joking. That's harsh. Come on. But no, it was good. But I was a bit apprehensive just because, you know, there'd been multiple offers of function gigs that day. And you kind of know
the infamous 25th of May.
Even Jack Hickling on the week of said, do you want one? There was about 5 different function gigs that day. Maybe 4. Anyway, but you know where you are. You know you're getting 250, and you know it'll just be covers. Whereas this was different in a lot of ways. So I'll run you through the day. So the gig was in Harrow, and I said to her, "Are we gonna rehearse on the day?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Let's go to a pirate studio." Maybe one. At first I said Croydon because it's like the closest one to Brighton. We could do that and then drive through. But then it was booked, and I was like, actually, let's just get one closer to the venue. So, so I said, oh, there's one in Wembley. And then my dad actually messaged me the night before, and he was like, oh, I see you're playing a gig in Harrow. You're aware it's the FA Cup final that day? And I went, oh my God. And I checked where we were rehearsing, and it's next to Wembley Stadium. It's like, shit. And we were there 12 till 4, which actually worked out fine because, when we left, the game was going on. So there was no traffic, baby. But yeah, so the day was interesting. I'll tell you how I'll describe it. It was
I've
a
got
lot
a question for you.
Yeah,
just a quick question.
Yeah,
so, am I right in thinking it was just the two of you
Yeah, it was. So
playing? Okay, so answer me this, riddle me this. I want to know sort of what sort of genre, how the two-piece setup worked.
Yep.
And yeah, that should answer the questions.
Yeah. So she's a singer-songwriter, and she said she did a gig in New York, actually, and she did it just her and a drummer, and she said it worked really well. It sort of, more than anything, she didn't feel like she was on her own on stage. She said, if you're on a bill with a load of bands and then you just turn up just with a guitar, she says you can feel a bit like, oh, I'm on my own. And she says she wants to bring a whole band, but obviously it's far more expensive. So she said, if I just have someone else there, just giving me a beat, giving me someone else to bounce things off and be on stage with, it's nicer. And I think she does have a band, but they all sort of live in different places. Like, she's from Switzerland, and like one of them, the band members from Germany, because they do a lot of gigs in Germany, and someone else is from somewhere else. And like when they can gig, it's cool, but she says she often does them on her own. But she was like, actually, there's bands on this bill, I want to have a drummer. So she asked Johnny, because Johnny did her album. Johnny was on tour with Echo Belly, I think. So then Johnny put her in touch with me. And the way it worked, it was interesting. So this is what I was going to say about adjusting. So I turned up to rehearsal, and I turned up very like function band, like head on, in terms of I'd learnt the songs verbatim, Cool.
Right. So just to nip in there, what's the line? Is it backing tracks? Is it just her guitar?
It was.
And you?
It's just us.
Okay.
So it's the most bare thing ever, which was really nice.
The material, were you learning it from a recorded album?
Yeah, so she sent me a Spotify playlist. There was about 7 songs, 30-minute set, and I just learnt Johnny's parts. Yep. So this is what was weird. So what I keep getting at is it was a lot of adjusting throughout the day. It felt like adjusting. It felt like, right, let's work out what she wants, So I kind of came in all guns a-blazing, like, right, these are the parts, and we start playing the song. And it just didn't feel right, it was a bit weird. It was, we'd literally just met. It's her on acoustic guitar and singing, and me on drums, and it just felt a bit off, like we weren't clicking, And I was a bit worried because, we'd finish a song and then it would be so also I think it's her partner.
She'd just go,
yeah. Oh, God. Is that really the best you can do? Yeah. But it did feel like that, It was a bit like we'd finish a song. She's like, okay, let's do the next one. I'm like, oh, fuck, this is awful, And her sound man was there, who I think is also her partner. They didn't say it, but they sort of alluded that they lived together and stuff. So I think they were together. Anyway, we started doing these songs, and it was a bit like, okay, something's not quite right. And she said, look, here's the deal. You'll hate this. Not hate it, but you've been here. We've all been here. She went, hey, look, I might add an extra section of a song, or I might change things, like, just, like, feel free to be a bit more free with the songs. Like, just don't worry about the structure. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I just really started playing softer. You know, I was like, I don't need to be twatting the kit. It's just her and an acoustic guitar. And then just like listening to what she was doing and just kind of really like watching her, you know, and just being like, okay, it looks like she's going to keep the chorus going. And she has done. Okay, let's carry on, you know, rather than being like, right, it's now the verse, you know. And then it just started to work. And it was like, oh, actually, this sounds okay, you know. And then, you know, we were there for like however many hours, 3 hours, and we just kind of kept running the set. And then it was like, oh, okay, this is, the music's there now. But then, as you know, part of it is getting to know the people, you know. So I was really conscious to just, you know, just be a nice lad. So afterwards we were like, right, let's drive to the gig. And on the way there, I was like, hey, put on some Swiss music. And we put on whatever Swiss pop music they wanted to put on. We were playing it. And then we went to a pub, watched the last 15 minutes of the FA Cup. And we were just hanging out, but it was really nice. It was that thing of like, you know, the gig and the music is part of it, but we had a whole day together. You know, I met them at midday, her and her sound man, and I was just aware, like, you know, just make a good impression and all that. It was just really nice. We just hung out at this pub, did a sound check, sounded good. And then the gig was, you know, the gig was cool. It was the most stripped back thing I've done in a while. I mean, it's literally just me on a kit and her acoustic guitar and singing. But it was good. There was like a few moments where there was like maybe a fuck up, you know, maybe it was like, I think twice we ended a song at a different time, but it's kind of like, who cares almost, you know what I mean? It's like in a pub, half of the pub was Man City fans who were looking for somewhere to carry on drinking, you know what I mean? Who on the last song
drown their sorrows.
Well, this is it. On the last song, she starts playing the guitar and she starts strumming, and they just start singing Wonderwall, you know? And I was like, okay, no one's listening. Do you know what I mean? If we fuck up a few times, it's okay. And I was sort of conscious of it afterwards. I was a bit like, oh, fuck, I fucked up a few times. But I had a chat with her and she was like, look, you know, I've loved today. Like, if you want to be the drummer, you can be the drummer. And she was like, how do you feel about traveling? I was like, I've travelled here, haven't I? I'll travel, boy. do you want to know where I've been?
Where? Hull?
Yeah, this is it. But no, she was like, look, I always play around Europe. You know, if you want to do the gigs, if you want to be the drummer, like, she was just like, I feel like we get on and you're like a calming presence. Some people can be mental, which is nice. I get that a lot. People say I'm quite calm a lot. So it was nice. And I was like, the worst thing that could have happened is I die. You know what I mean? But the worst thing that could have happened that's the best thing is I do a job, get paid. That's it. You know what I mean? But the best thing is like, we do a gig in London and she's like, oh, he's all right. And then we do more gigs, you know? And hopefully that'll be the case, you know? So, yeah, it was just a good day. Just a good day all round, you know what I mean? It was like, oh, that was a good choice to do that. Because, you know, also another thing is, if I'd have done the function gigs, it would have been great. But they don't lead anywhere. Do you know what I mean? And it was like...
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we had a conversation a while ago. I sort of said to you, you're back in Brighton.
Yeah.
The weddings are great.
Yeah.
Pay the bills.
Yeah.
But they could lull you into a false sense of security.
This is it.
The only thing you'll get from playing a wedding is another wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're playing with familiar people most of the time. And it's like, if you want to go and be a drummer, going and playing around, you got to break out of that comfort zone of the weddings. And so when you told me about this gig that you were doing with Aura, won't go into numbers, but the fee was comparable.
Yeah,
so,
it was, yeah.
So you knew that you weren't losing out on by not doing a function. But in this example, you had a lot of other offers for functions, and you pulled out of one of my gigs to do this.
Yeah.
I think that's right, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's so much better for your career.
Yeah. Well, that was it. You were great. You were all for it. You were like, yeah.
Then just doing a
And
fucking
I think
wedding.
that one was on bass. It's like I'm not trying to be a bassist. So yeah,
that's what can be a tricky thing about the weddings. It can just lull you in. Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm earning money. I'm playing drums.
Yeah,
But it ain't gonna drive you into that other. Not just you, but anyone, into that sort of other thing. It can breed other weddings, but rare is it gonna, and I think as well, like you'll often, to go and do that show, often is the case, you would probably have to do it for less money.
yeah,
But the satisfying bit of your soul that's like, I'm being employed to go and play some original music with, potential growth and all that sort of stuff.
yeah.
It's just much more rewarding.
It is much more rewarding.
Things like that. I also liked it. So I was very proud of you, George.
Oh, thank you very much.
I was very proud of you for getting the gig, doing the gig, shunning the weddings for that weekend, and going, no, I'm going to go and do this original thing because I know that's what you really want to do.
Yeah.
What I also liked was the I saw on the old Instagram, Aura featuring George Pickering.
Yeah.
With your mug on there as well. I thought George must be absolutely loving this.
It was great. She showed me it before she posted it, and it was like, I'm going to do a collab post. Can you accept this poster? It's like, yeah, that's the coolest.
I
thing
will,
I've
but
seen.
make me bigger.
I know.
I want to be the whole left side of this.
But do you know what's funny? She's like quite popular on Instagram, so my Instagram's gone mental. She posted that. It's got 149 comments alone. I don't know how many likes it's got, but it's must be like a lot. Speaking of which, let me just tell you about, I went viral the other day on Facebook. So people that listen to the podcast may have heard of a Facebook group called Dull Men's Club. It's basically just men, sometimes women, talking about just boring things. Like when I take out paracetamol from a packet, I go across, whereas my wife goes up. You know what I mean? Things like that. I would be like, I fixed a door handle today. I might see if a neighbour wants any other jobs doing. So I've started calorie counting again, just to kind of get a little bit more lean, because it makes running easier and shit. It's not important. But I was like measuring veg the other night, and I measured out some green beans. So there's a reason that why I want to talk about this, right? Not just because I've gone viral. So I measured out some green beans. I just threw a load in a bowl, and it went 100 grams on the scale. I was like, oh wow. And I was like, I'm going to take a photo of that because that's quite cool. That's quite a lucky thing. And then I just chopped a bit of cucumber and put that 100 grams as well. Mental. And I was like, I'm going to put that on the Dull Men's Club because I kind of see that every day, and it's quite a funny thing to see on Facebook. And they have to approve the post. So I put it on, and then I don't know if they'd approved it. And then about an hour later, I checked Facebook, and it was like 300 likes. And I was like, what the fuck? And basically,
did you put any text to accompany the photo?
Yeah, I said, I have started calorie counting. Last night, whilst preparing dinner, I portioned some green beans and weighed them. To my shock, they were exactly 100 grams. I then cut a segment of cucumber and weighed that too. I couldn't believe it, exactly 100 grams as well. I quit while I was ahead and didn't weigh any more veg as to not ruin the perfect dull evening, which is like a perfect post for this page, right? But here's my thing, right? This is why I want to talk about it, not just because I've gone viral. And by the way, it's annoying because I'm currently at 998 likes, and I'm like, fucking, just give me 1,000.
Is that viral?
No, it's not viral. I just want to show off. I just want to flex. It's not viral. So this is what's weird, right? People can't help themselves just arguing. Do you know what I mean? I've done a post that's become so commented and liked.
Rattled the nation.
It's fucking mental. So most people are just saying things like, someone just put any relation to Ronnie, and Ronnie Pickering.
Classic, yeah.
And then some people think funny things like, oh, you must have been a drug dealer in a past life, and then people just start arguing about calorie counting on this. So where is it? Cool story. Calorie counting doesn't do much. All full stops. And then someone's like, actually, it's the only surefire way to lose fat. It's thermodynamics. It can't not work. And then an argument just kicks up, like, amongst a load of people. People are posting, like, YouTube videos of, like, how to calorie count and shit. And I'm like, what is going on? You know, someone just, unrelated to that, just commented #attention seeker. I'm like, what am I? It's a post. How am I attention seeking? Yeah. And people are just like, don't think you need to weigh cucumber and add the calories to that, mate. It's like 12 calories. Just maybe you should calm down a bit. I'm like, oh my God. Like, what? Just, why are you? I don't know. And I didn't reply to any of the comments. People are asking me stuff like, aren't your scales broken? I'm like, I don't know. But most of them are quite nice. But there's some, people just start arguing. I'm like, why are you arguing? You know, just do something else, you know? Anyway, live your life. Get out.
Yeah. People are pathetic.
People are pathetic. Anyway, that's enough about that.
Well, I'm glad the gig went well, mate.
Thanks, mate.
And you didn't actually lose your sticks.
Oh, yeah, no. They were just in a stick bag. But speaking of, Will, who I met the other night, has just messaged and said he'd love to be on the pod. So we'll have him on soon.
Oh, has he now?
Yeah.
Of course he wants to be on the pod.
I offered it. And he's like among the most energetic people I've ever met. I thought, you'll be a good chap. Do you know what I mean? Unless he's different on Zoom. He might be shit, you know? You never know. I don't think he listens to the pods, though. I think he just follows our Instagram. So we can chat shit about him here. As long as we don't put it in an audiogram. Yeah. It's all good.
That's sweet.
Right.
Good.
Should we finally do the correspondence for James?
Yes. James got in touch on Instagram after
James
we were
Gilliam.
talking about the new Zildjian Alchemy kit, which is still sort of now out. I think you can order it now, or I think G-Russ have got it, but you can order it, get it in September, something like that. The main thing is, I've had a few people say to me, "Oh, do you regret buying your Roland now?"
Who said that?
Loads of people.
Okay.
Loads of people. Yeah. Okay. You don't need to worry about who. I say low, right? Couple of people. Okay. Yeah.
Can you name and shame?
No, I'm not going to
Okay.
do that.
Fair enough.
But the Zildjian Alchemy, the top range runs $7,000, so no, I don't regret buying the Roland.
Right.
Anyway, so James got in touch because we were talking about my suspicions were that the Alchemy, the new symbols, were essentially the LAT volume, low volume symbols, you know, and actually that in the past, Zildjian have released a set of E-symbols called the Gen 16s, which then became the low volume symbols. And I've watched the videos of the Gen 16s and the new ones. I think James described the Gen 16s as sounding gash.
You did, yeah.
And I don't think he thought the new ones sounded much better. But I think the main difference is that the Gen 16s used a pickup. So it was amplifying what you were hitting. So you were just getting the low volume symbol louder. Whereas the new ones have trigger sensors. So it's using a sample. Yeah. Basically. I think that's about it really.
Yeah, fair.
I showed you that little video.
Yeah,
I think it sounded a lot better than the Gen 16s.
Yeah, they sound quite good. They sound, I'd say, sound pretty good.
I think the interesting thing is the volt on the module. Well, they've just sampled like every Zildjian symbol. Yeah. And you can just be like, oh, I'll have this crush on the right will be a 17-inch K dark crash. Yeah. And this one on the left's going to be paper thin. You know?
What's thinner than paper? That's what we need to know.
That is what, yeah. Silk.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is. Yeah, no, they sounded all right. It's just interesting, innit? As I said before, that line is getting more blurred, baby. You know, just keep blurring
I
that
did
line.
a gig on the weekend with, again, with the hybrid setup. Yeah. The Roland shells and the real cymbals.
Nice.
It was great.
Do you reckon you'll ever take your own snare? And then
just gradually start replacing it. No, I think I'm going to stick to my guns. And
because I feel like the snare would be the next like thing to do, because I feel like, because what you said about the toms, how you can actually have toms in your ear, and when you're playing in a room, like I feel like the toms are the thing that just get most lost, and probably the thing you play least. I mean, it's, you know, in general, but yeah, I think that would be quite funny. Just turn up with a snare and and one rack tom. It's just low tom and kick. And then just one day you've got your purple.
I think that would be
back.
that would be the thing you could swap in a real one for. Or you'd need to mic it, so it's.
You could have it as a second snare. You could have a real snare on your left, and then
Yeah.
Muse used
What
to
was
do.
interesting, Archie did a little bit of filming for the Instagram, so he's sort of at the front of the stage, and we're doing Chelsea Dagger, and as he turns around and they're sort of facing the back. It's the verse bit where it's on the floor tom, kick and snare.
Yeah.
And so like it pans around at one bit, you can just hear, all you can hear is hi-hat, because you can't really hear the front of house.
Yeah.
So there's nothing on stage. So I'm playing a beat, but all you can just hear is
That is weird.
And then it goes to the verse and you just can't hear any drums because it's facing the back of the stage, but out front. Neil said it sounded good up front, and people were happy in ears. Speaking of in ears, George, I've got an ACS update. We're going to finish with an ACS update. So, as people know or should know, I got my ACS in-ear monitors. In fact, they arrived live on the show last week. So I took them into the studio, and I was very excited. And I was like, right, let's get these bad boys in. You know, I've never really worn plugs like this before, where they kind of go quite in your ear and they're molded. So I was like, I don't even fucking know which is which or which way up they go. Came with a little bottle of lube.
Yep. Is that for the in-ears, or is that for personal use?
I don't think it says exclusively for the in-ears.
No.
But
use it as you will.
Use as you will. And it said it might be a bit tough to get them in at first, so pop a little bit of lube on.
And what about the in-ears?
Yes, it's good stuff. This is what we're here for.
It's just so set up. I know exactly what you're doing. We've done it for like 4 years now.
There's so I worked out which one was which, and I think the thing that annoyed me, one of them's got a little red thing on, one's got a little blue, and the blue is the left and the red is the right.
Yeah.
And for some reason that annoys me, because I feel like the red should be left.
Really?
Just in my head.
Yeah.
Anyway, is it left port? And that's the red light on an aeroplane, and green is the right.
Maybe.
Starboard.
Where's Eddie from Primus? That's where we need him. He'd know.
Sure. So anyway, I got the left one in, and there was a bit of a like, oh, okay, so you got to put it in, and then sort of twist it back as you slide it in. Yeah. I was like, okay, I've got that in. And I was like, let's try and get the right one in. I was like, it's a bit tricky. This one's feeling tricky.
Yeah.
Time to go get the lube. So lubed up my inner ear, put a bit in the ear. Again, very tricky to get it in, and I felt like I was forcing it a bit. Eventually, got the old, and it kind of went in.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
Now let's just put some Spotify on from a sound card from a iMac in the studio, and just hear what these bad boys sound like. Put on a bit of Carly Rae Jepsen.
Yeah, great one.
Yeah,
brilliant.
great, yeah.
Why not start there?
That's why it's in the Wonder Year set. That's why it was up on my Spotify, because I've been learning a lot of new songs.
What, Call Me Maybe? Or I really like you? Oh, okay.
Call Me Maybe.
Yeah.
It's got to be Call Me Maybe. Yeah. Popped it in. Nothing coming out the right ear.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I thought, maybe, you can't blame them straight away. Maybe there's an issue with the cable, the converter I'm using to plug into the audio interface. So I jiggled them around, nothing, just to check I wasn't going mad. I took the left one out, right one just barely audible, very, very quiet, thin and tinny. Put the left one in. Okay, well, let's try it. Let's plug it straight in my iPad without the adapter. Play again, play Spotify. No, just coming out the left ear.
Fuck.
So obviously bit gutted. So I sent them an email, and then the next day as well, I was like, I'll try it the next day as well and just check I'm not going mental. And then I just could not get the right earpiece in for love nor money, even with lube. So I've emailed ACS and just said, hey, look, I got these the other day. I've tested them, 2 different sources with and without the adapter. Just the right one's not working, and I cannot get it in my ear.
Yeah.
So they've got back to me, so I've got to send them back. Looks like I'll probably have to get my right ear remoulded as well.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah, a bit annoying.
That is annoying, yeah.
It's more just the inconvenience.
It is, yeah. And I think it's that you got that excitement. Oh, yes, here we go.
The excitement for a long time.
Yeah.
Took a long time to get these. Not their fault, for other circumstances, but it's like, I've got to send them back.
Yeah.
Again. And also in their reply to me, it said, I think it's best you send them back. They attached a postage label, and it said, just to let you know, we are having production difficulties, so it might take longer to get them looked at. You're like, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
So a bit of a disappointment, a bit of a shame, but I'm sure they'll sort it. But I'm quite keen to, I kind of really wanted them because part of them is to protect my hearing.
Yeah.
And, I'm back gigging now, and what I've currently got isn't great, but oh well.
Yeah,
one
it's
of
weird.
those things.
I had a thing with in-ears. I can't remember which ear it was that started being difficult, but they would only work if I put it in a certain way. And it was like you had to like rotate it. I don't know. It was just a pair of Shaw 2-1, whatever the classic, SE 215s. And yeah, but I put it in and it wouldn't work. And then I had to like lift it up a little bit so it was sort of out of my ear and then it would work. And it was just a fucking nightmare. But I never used to take care of stuff. I used to just finish a gig and then just throw the in-ears in the bag and be like, they'll still work tomorrow, And then they stopped working. And I was like, why? But that's disappointing though, mate. Sorry to hear that.
Disappointing, yeah. So to go and get those sent back. But
yeah.
Oh well.
Well.
I'll do you want it, boy.
Yeah, well, I'll just say, hopefully we'll have some guests coming up because our recent guest, Tumbo Mitchell, I messaged him last night and said, you got anyone? And he gave me a list and he said,
Lovely.
I'll message them first and then you can message them. So, and we will
Lovely
have Will
stuff.
at some point. Energetic Will. So, lots to think about there.
Just lots to do, lots going on. Lovely stuff.
Well,
Instagram, email, get in touch, do all that sort of stuff. Follow all that things. Go and look at the Dull Men's Club or whatever it's called. Boring Little Boys Club. And go and,
if
go
you're a
and
man,
George.
aged 35 to 65, I don't know.
Yeah, but you're not a man aged 35.
Even if you're not a man. But I think particularly men who are settled down and sort of go, is my life pointless now? Because I sort of,
is it over?
Is it over? And then they go, oh my God, there's a whole community of men like me, And it's good to seem dull. If you seem dull, then you can get away with having a ridiculous second life that no one knows about. It's all good. Right. Let's wrap it up there.
Let's wrap it up. Yeah, we'll be back next week, of course.
Yep.
No doubt about that.
Yeah.
You got any gigs this week?
Yeah, well, I do. I'll just end with this. I got a gig with someone new. It's a function gig, but I've never played with him before. I met him through Johnny Brister again. God, Johnny's coming up. Trumps. I don't know if that's the phrase. I don't know. But he's a guitarist, and I basically said, if you ever need a drummer, let me know. And he just messaged me once, just saying, Felix Stowe, May 31st. Want to do it? It's like, I don't really know what any of that. I mean,
do what? A gig?
Do what?
Pub crawl? Fun fair?
He's put a fee as well, and I was like, well, I'm getting paid for doing something in Felixstowe. But we had I'll just end with this. We had a Zoom call, me, him, Johnny, and a few other people, just kind of like this sort of community Johnny's creating. I won't go too much into it, but he's sort of helping out people like myself with gigs and stuff. He's a good man, basically. He's a bloody good lad. And we were talking, and I said to Johnny, actually used one of my questions whilst we were doing this Zoom call. It's like, what do the non-drummers in this call look for? And he did say, he was like, I've stolen this from Drum and Drummer. And the guy was like, oh, when I'm playing with a drummer, this guy Tim, he was like, I just want a consistent snare. That's all I want. I don't want it to be. And I was like, what do you mean? Thinking like, if we ever play, like, I want to make sure I do this. He was like, just make it the same. Just make it the same. You know, he's like, I play with drummers and it will change in dynamics or whatever. He was like, just as long as the snare is the same, then I'm happy. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. So that's the focus for Friday. And then I'm playing with Nelly on Saturday. So that's all good. But yeah.
Lovely.
Have you got any gigs?
Yeah, got a freshman year up in Milton Keynes.
Nice.
Should be cool. And then I got a midweek one.
Oh, lovely.
Some golf club, yeah, and a Wednesday gig. Take that.
Yeah.
We're sort of in now. Yeah, it's kind of. But yeah, we got the rebranded Victorianas, now called Wonder Year.
Nice.
So half the set is new. So I've done my classic. We've got a rehearsal to just get those. We'll do one rehearsal.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the songs. Everyone do their homework. Come in, play them through, and then we'll never rehearse again.
Yep.
Because we got our first gig towards the end of June. But I just spent an afternoon the other day just charting out all the songs I hadn't done before.
Nice.
Easy.
Fantastic.
And I'm looking forward to it, actually. There's some fun songs in there.
Yeah.
To play.
Yeah, it's new.
Yeah, a bit of pop.
Yeah.
That we're gonna, 90s, noughties pop rock. Yeah, lap it up.
Yeah, lap all that.
Lap it up. Lap all that shit. Sweet. Well, we'll see you all next week.
See you all next week.
Bye, Joe.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Drum and Drummer. You can find us on Instagram at Drum and Drummer Podcast. And you can send us an email to drumanddrummerpod@gmail.com. Remember, just pick up the sticks and twat it.